What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing an Applebee's Mukbang.
Mukbang, whatever.
We have...
Can you take my straw?
Yes. We have some type of honey chicken pasta. We have
Grilled chicken salad. So good. And spinach artichoke dip.
And for dessert, we have a pecan blondie with ice cream.
And it's going to be so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
Today we were going to talk about how we met.
How we
sisters.
Basically, I can't even talk. Tastes like noodle.
It's a noodle.
6 years ago. Was it 6 years? Okay. I was just living my everyday normal life. It was like 2013. I was with my dad, our dad, in the car, which she didn't know was our dad at this point.
Surprise.
It's so weird. I don't even know how to explain this story. I was with my dad one day. He was dropping me off at my mom's house, and he had this newspaper laid out on the console and just said, "Do you recognize this girl?" Which was her. She was in the newspaper for volleyball. And I was like, "No, I have no idea who this girl is." And he's like, "Well, this is your sister." And I was like, "Wait, what? My sister?" You know, I had no idea who she was. So basically, that night, he told me that he wanted me to message her on Facebook and let her know that we're sisters.
So she did. And it was like, hey, don't you have it? Do you have the messages?
What did I do?
Or he told you, he asked if you would, or did he say message
no,
her on
he
Facebook?
just said, "I want you to message her on Facebook and
oh, good.
let her know." She was out eating cooking at this point. He said, "Hi, I need to tell you something really important. I know you don't really know who I am, but I don't want anything bad to come out of this, though. If you would like to text me, you can. My number is..." I gave it to her. So then, basically, after that,
I called her, and I was with my roommates. It was like my very first night in college, like my very first night staying in my new apartment. And so I like got this message, and I was sitting with my friend who I'd like played volleyball with forever. So she knew my family for a long time and everything. And so she read the message, and she was like, "No fucking way! Like, you need to call her. Like, there's no way, she's lying." So, like, we read the message, and so I was like, "What the hell?" So I called her, and I put her on speakerphone. So I was like, I gotta listen to what this girl's gotta say. And so me and Rachel are listening. She was like, "I don't really know how to tell you this, but I'm your sister." And we were like, "What? There's no way." Well, I texted my mom, and I was like, "Hey, so who is Clint Greason, who was our dad?" And she called me like immediately, and she was like, "Who are you talking to? Like, they're lying to you. Like, whatever they're saying, just ignore it." And that's when it kind of got weird. Like, don't believe it. You know, like, you need to come home. And I was like over an hour and a half away from home at this point. My mom had me when she was 17, and our real dad was 15.
because he had dropped out of high school as a freshman.
Yeah, so basically...
So he didn't have responsibility. There's no way he could have taken care of a child at 15.
Yeah, and my mom was still dependent on, you know, my grandparents too at the time, because she's 17. You know, she's like a junior in high school. So, yeah, so they were dating or whatever. And my mom and my dad, who, like, my dad, Anthony, they, like, dated all through high school and stuff like that. So they were, like, on a break or something. Like, I don't really know. My dad, I remember my mom telling me a story of, like, my dad coming home on military leave. She didn't tell anybody that she was pregnant, like, at all the whole entire time. And hid it from everybody. Yeah, she hid her pregnancy with me for a long time. And my grandma basically asked when she was, like, 8 months pregnant, like, "Are you pregnant? Or what's going on?" And my mom was like, "Yeah, I'm freaking out. Like, I don't know what to do." And I don't know, like, my mom just kind of, like, kept me away from everybody. It was crazy. This is a crazy plot twist that I was going to tie into the end, but my mom's best friend, Annette, has, like, she's, like, there through the whole entire part. Like, she's a school nurse, but she's also the coroner. But she was also the only person that, like, my mom told that she was pregnant when she's pregnant with me. It's, like, a lot. It's, like...
It's so hard to explain, honestly.
It's years of shit piled on. It's like...
So basically, long story short, when I was 13 years old, my dad told me that I had a sister that I had no idea about my whole life that lived in the same exact town as we lived in. And So this was in July when he told me that I had a sister. So basically I told her that we were sisters. Crazy shit happened. We were like trying to figure out how her dad, Anthony, raised her. Not, you know.
As his kid. And he came home from the Marine Corps when I was like 4.
But
and he
my
adopted
dad,
me.
our dad, Clint, is her dad, but was never around because...
And no one ever told me that wasn't my dad, ever.
Because when he was 15 years old, like she said, he couldn't take care of a child, so...
But still.
She never... nothing ever came about it, like no one knew. So we were living in the same town our whole lives, and we had no
different
idea.
Different last names. My name is Taylor, and her middle name is Taylor.
My middle name is Taylor. My dad did that on purpose. He named me after her.
I wonder if my mom spelled my name different because he, like, I don't know. She didn't want him to, like...
No, my dad spelled my name different.
He did on purpose?
Yeah, he did on purpose.
So he knew?
So where are we at in the story now? Like, it's just so confusing.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, over like a span of the last 5 years, like we've been just trying to figure it all out.
Trying to figure each other out.
So I find out that he's my real dad, that Clint is my real dad. So I was a senior when she was in the 8th grade. So we never were ever going to the same school at the same time. Right. And, but actually like our brothers, like we both have little brothers. Mm-hmm. And they're in the same grade and they're like friends. And they were friends before we found out. Like,
so her little brother is on her mom's side. My little brother is on our dad's side. So, I don't know, it's just so weird.
Mm-hmm.
So, my brother, Eli, is our brother. And then she has a brother on mom's side, his name's Blake. So, they did go to the same school, and they're in the same grade, same age. Yeah. They hung out and stuff.
That's crazy.
So, it's all craziness, really. I'm gonna switch this up. I'm eating a lot of this.
Okay. We saw each other at a basketball game, and it's crazy. So, that's what I was saying earlier.
We knew, like, right when we saw each other, I was like, holy shit, that's my sister. Like,
I know.
Oh, gotta be
this girl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was just a younger version of you. Like, it was crazy. At first, I was like, no, there's no way that I have a sister that I haven't known about my whole life, and she lives in the same town as me. There's just no way.
I know.
But when I saw her,
it's like you just know.
I was like,
you're like,
whoa, like,
look at that.
Like, we are. It's crazy.
For sure.
How does that happen?
Huh?
Us living in the same town for so long now. And growing up, people would say, like, you look so familiar.
Yeah, you look like somebody.
Probably my sister had seen this. I
didn't know.
Mm-hmm. So we met a couple months after I had told her that we were sisters. And then, so basically, she didn't want to meet my dad. Our dad. It's so hard to say our dad. But, so she didn't want to meet him because she was just scared, and I don't know why I didn't want to. Just because.
I don't know, my mom was like tripping me out about it and making me feel like he was such a bad person. I don't know.
But basically, one night we were hanging out.
We saw her at the basketball game. And this was like the first time that like I saw Liv. And like I said before, my parents made me like feel super weird about like seeing Liv and like meeting our dad. Like, I just felt like I had to lie about it. I don't know. So I was just like, didn't really know what to do. I was just on my own about it. So when I walked up to my mom's best friends at the basketball game, yeah, we're going in on this food.
For real.
I was like, kind of like, was so nervous. I was like, holy fuck, like she's gonna tell my mom. And then she was like, oh, hey, Liv. Hey,
yeah,
Ty.
she was just like, hey, guys.
I was like,
made it so normal.
How do you know
when we first
her?
met.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I had no idea.
You were like, wait. I was like, what? How do you know this girl? Yeah, she was my school nurse, and I had no idea that she was related or anything. I had no idea. It's so weird.
Yeah, you didn't know who you were?
No, like, I didn't know that you knew her. I didn't know anything like
That's
that.
Crazy.
Until my dad told me that Annette knew. Or Annette was friends with him. Or something, when they were younger. Like, when it was happening. Annette, like, helped him out with it or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That makes sense. Well, so basically, I was going to take her home from the basketball game that we were at. You know, first, like, little sister hangout time. And we're in the car, and out of nowhere, like, our dad calls her phone. And, you know, for the longest time, I had been so hesitant about seeing him and stuff. And she was like, should I answer it? And I was like, for some reason, I was like, yeah, answer it. And she was like, guess who I'm with? And she said me, and he was like, no way. Oh my gosh, where you guys at? Like, meet me right now. Like, I'm in town. Like, meet up at this gas station. So we pulled up at this gas station, and
It sounds super sketchy, but it's not. It was just so weird because, like, her parents didn't want all this to happen. She didn't want it. They didn't want it to come out. That sounds so bad.
and no, but it's true. Like,
You know, they didn't want
it was kept a secret for so long, and I know that my parents, like, my family had my best interest. Like, they did it because they felt that was the best thing for me at the time. I just think that it went on too long. Yeah. And that's like what they say. It's like, when is the right time to say it? But I don't know, but it's better than just never.
Right.
I don't know.
So yeah, she met him. She met meeting my dad.
Which was so crazy. Like, we look just alike. It was crazy, like, feeling like you finally look like somebody, you know? I don't look like anybody in my family. It's weird. Everybody has, like, brown eyes and dark hair. You know what I mean?
So, what do you even remember? Like, I don't remember you meeting him. I remember, like,
I do.
I don't remember anything.
It was
I
crazy.
was there, but I don't remember. Really.
I do. It was crazy. It was like, I could, like, picture how tall he was to me, like, it was just so insane. I just never felt like I looked like my dad and, like, my grandma Lisa. Like, we all have very defined, like, just different facial structures, and mine's like yours.
Yeah. So, when she was younger, she used to say, like, am I Korean? And I don't know it because we're both 25% Korean because our dad was 50%. So, basically, she met him for, it was like 10 minutes or something. I was mind blown for, like, the longest time. I was like, this
trying
is
to figure shit
so
out with my
messed
mom.
up. How is this real? Like,
Yeah. My
Our
family
house-
was so dramatic about it.
Our town was so small that, like, there's no way that we didn't see each other at games because I was in sports. You played sports.
Yeah.
I would.
Oh, we didn't even tell them the worst part about all of it. It was
February.
probably like a month later after I met him.
Yep. Okay, so let's just say February. She met him at the gas station, and then after that, about a month later, on March 13th, I got called down to the office at school. And as I was walking down to the office, I saw my cousin walking down to the office too. When we got to the office, my aunt was standing in there, and you could tell she'd been crying. The car ride was silent, and my heart was racing. We got to my house, and there was like 6 or 7 cars there. I was like, oh my god, what is going on? Like, so I ran up to the house, and my mom sat me down, and all I remember her saying is, your dad got into a car accident and didn't make it. That's all I remember. And then after that, like, I don't remember anything from that. And I called you.
I stepped out into the hallway because you had called me like twice. And she picked up and she's like bawling. So like immediately, like my heart like dropped, and I was like, what is going on? And you were like, he's dead. Like, our dad, he's dead. You mean he's in the hospital? And I was like, and you were like, no, like he's dead. And I was like, oh my god. And then that's maybe when I was like, okay, yeah. I remember asking you that.
Yeah, so I know that I was just so overwhelmed because there's a bunch of my family members at my house, and just wasn't the right time for that. Like, you know, I was like in shock, and I was like, what am I gonna do? So I called her and told her. Apparently, I don't remember that because I was so in shock. But yeah, so she only met our dad one time, and which was like 5 months, not even 5 months after she found out that we were sisters. So.
And like a month before you passed away.
Crazy.
So
yeah, that's our story and how we met.
Yeah.
Now here we are, 6 years later.
And what's crazy is I called my mom after that to tell her, and I was like crying. And oh my god, I cannot wait to eat that. And my mom's best friend, who we saw at the basketball game, is the coroner. So she had already told my mom.
That's crazy. Yeah, she was there when it happened. So.
She was the one who had to pronounce him dead. The one who like was there through the whole entire thing.
Yep. On that knew from the very beginning.
That's some fuck shit.
Shit is so good.
Is it? Oh my god, I need a bite. I need that ice cream.
Put your finger in there and try it. It's so good. I can't really eat that until I'm done, though.
Oh my god. That's a piece of bacon. That is good. So now we're like real ass sisters, and we like fucking kick it all the time. You might have a sister in your life that you don't know about. And what's crazy is like my dad was in the military, and I always was like, do I like have an Asian sister that I don't know about, or an Asian brother or something that like, you know, implying that like from like overseas when he's in the military. But he was always like, I don't know, let's not try to find out.
Really?
Yeah.
Like when you knew about it? Or
when I didn't know about it.
Mm.
But it was always like the opposite, like not my mom.
That's crazy. Alright guys, well that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.